AP History students, and welcome to another session of AP Euroblast. I'm here to strike your interest in European history, to activate your memory, draw connections, and get you ready for the exam. In the first session, we took a look at the 2020 DBQ rubric and the importance of understanding task verbs to getting all the points in the rubric. Today, I'm going to focus on getting the outside evidence points. Now, you may remember from last time that 20% of the exam are from outside evidence. The good news is that to get these points, it's entirely in your hands if you plan right with your classmates and teacher. Coming up with the outside evidence is a little like looking at this picture. If you're like me, you see the face and profiles looking at each other before you see the vase in the middle. Or maybe you see the vase first. Whichever takes us longer to see is the negative space. We need to think about the outside evidence that way. It may take us a moment to see it, but it's out there and we can find it if we look. To see how we can do this, let's take a look together at the 2018 World History DBQ on railroads and empires. It has a lot of crossover for AP Euro and APUSH as well. Here's the prompt. Evaluate the extent to which railroads affected the process of empire building in Afro-Eurasia between 1860 and 1918. Where do we begin? On exam day, we're probably nervous. Sometimes it might be hard to focus on the question. We'll need to read it several times. That's okay. But it's also a good idea to have a plan of attack. It will help calm your nerves and it'll get you started more quickly. I like to start with what I call a Q snap. Q for question and snap because with practice it becomes easy and quick. I ask myself 3 quick questions and see where the answers take me. What am I asked? What do I know? And what information am I given? The 2018 prompt has a lot of information. Of course it does. It's an AP question. But if we think about 3 parts of the Q-snap, the answers will limit the paths we can take, and we can come up with some brilliant ideas. Before we look at the documents, let's take a quick moment to analyze the question and think about what we know. Looking at the prompt, we can see that there are 2 things we need to know about. How are empires built? And which empires specifically are we talking about in Afro-Eurasia? Here to the right are the things that empires need. And after we've made a list, we can also see that they share something in common. Empires need to control them and be able to move them quickly. So railroads could have been very helpful. In thinking about 19th century empires, we remember that European empires were the most dominant. The British and French were the biggest and the most industrialized along with Germany, so they would have had the most railroads. Hopefully we also remember that after the Crimean War, Russia tried to catch up and did build an enormous railroad across Siberia. If we remember that, we probably also remember that they collided with another growing empire, Japan, which defeated Russia badly in 1905. But were there empires that were not European besides Japan? Of course there were. It's just that unlike the European ones that were growing, they were declining. The Qing Empire in China and the Ottoman Empire in the Middle East and the Balkans. Interesting. That means that the Japanese empire was different than other Asian empires. Now, what information are we given? The documents, of course. As we look through the documents, we want to think about which empires they're showing, not the empire of the person who is writing, but the empire that the document is about. Here's what we have, starting with the European empires. Document 1 and 7 are about the British in India, and document 4 is about the British in Africa. Also in Africa, we have the French in document 6, and we have the Russian Empire in document 5. As for Asian-ruled empires, we have the Qing Empire in China in document 2 and the Ottoman Empire in the Middle East in document 3. That's it for the positive space, the information that we were given. Now for the negative space. Did it take you longer to see the capital E like me or the plug? Doesn't really matter so long as we know that we're trying to see both. Now, because we took some time with a Q-snap at the beginning, fortunately now it isn't so hard to see that negative space. None of the documents discuss Japan, or Germany, or European companies in Latin America. They didn't discuss the US either, but since the US wasn't an Afro-Eurasian empire, we can't use it anyway. At least not for outside evidence. Maybe for complexity. So what does the College Board say? To find out, look up AP World History's Scoring Guidelines 2018. You can do the same for other years, and for all 3 history exams. Once we scroll past their comments on the SAQs, we get to the DBQ, and once we scroll past the other points, we get to the evidence beyond the documents, and there it is, Japan. If we keep scrolling, we get to a longer explanation with 2 examples. Now, the point is not just to understand how the College Board thinks, it's also to start thinking like them. And the best way to do that is to keep looking at their examples and comments in the scoring guidelines. Now, if you plan and organize yourself well, you can really make this pay off for yourself on exam day. This year, the College Board is allowing open notes, but you won't have a lot of time to look things up on exam day. So if you take good notes on terms that can be used for evidence because they were successfully used in the past, you can build a great resource for yourself and have a better chance of getting those outside evidence points. And when we look for evidence, don't stop with the old DBQs. You can find a ton of evidence in the scoring guidelines for the SAQs and for the LAQs. Who knows when they might come in handy? Maybe on exam day. Hopefully I provided some encouragement and you found this video useful. Please leave your comments and remember to keep learning. Thank you for watching. It's been a blast.